Hello my crafty friends, it's Krista here from Second Chance Creation. And no, this is not crafting. This is a quick tour of my garden. This is the inside of the house yard where Sophie has a run around and she's at the front with Dad. I'm just took out some of my plants from the sunroom, gave them some water and a bit of fresh air. And you just walk around here and we've got a little inch gate area just over there, an side entry. People rarely use it. They usually use the gate. I have lemongrass growing and I've got some. This had a yucca plant in it and the roots attached themselves to the pot. The pot's about 3 foot high. So I dug out about 10 inches. That's all I could get out. Filled it with soil and I'm putting some succulents on there that'll survive the 40-degree heat out here. Okay, I've just put my little pot out here. It usually doesn't sit here. It's just to give a bit of sun today. It's in the sun, goes in the sunroom. So yes, but all these stay out here. And this is of course my messy potting shed where it all happens. Got some cuttings and plants happening here. Got the oranges ready to dunk into yeast. Got my little harvest of onions up there. Yeah, so it's a beautiful day. It's been really windy. This is the laundry. It's the old-fashioned laundry, separate laundry, not in the house. And it's got the big tubs and stuff there, so the washing machine. So it actually still has the original encasing of the copper, which is right there. And the copper is still in there, but we're not using it. I've got my dryer on top. So here I've got a rose. It's we got the gate from next door when they sold, and the people that used to live there, the surname was Rose. So what better way? And they used to be really good neighbours where we are here, and this is going back like 40-50 years ago. So we grabbed the gate that he gifted us, the young fella, and I planted a rose in there. It's called the Rose Gate. How appropriate is that, eh? I use shoes and gumboots. It's planter pots, a bit quirky. I've got marigold seeds in that one, a little succulent in that one. They like the heat. I water them probably twice a day in the summer because otherwise it gets too hot. Got my coriander and mint in there. All right, let's do a quick tour as promised. Agapanthus are flowering. The rose has just finished. It's getting another flush. And here's my grafted succulent, the jade, I think it's called jade plant. And look, I don't know a lot of the names in botanicals, even though I'm a gardener, but I can never remember it. So I grafted this particular succulent onto it. I had 10, only 2 took, because the other 8 fell down, and I just left them there, and they're flowering and growing mad, so that's okay. So yes, I use anything to put succulents in, as you can see. Even the old camp tea kettle. But there's another pot in there, so I can take it out if I wish, because it will get a bit hot, because it's it's tin. A little water feeder for the birds. My husband, honey husband, yes, made for me. And of course all the bird seed that we had here is now in here, and that's what the birds feed on. They feed off that lovely yummy green stuff. So we go out the gate. I planted corn along here and other stuff last year, but spinach went really well, but the soil's not that good, even though I mulch. So I gave up the ghost and planted some garnsias. They're all year round flowering, and aloe vera that survived the frost. Geraniums, more agapanthus. I plant stuff that will survive, because over the 5 years I've learned what will and what won't, and geraniums are the best. Here's my potato patch. This bit of soil here is like liquid gold. We took out, when we cleaned up, when we moved in, we took away, it was a big mound with bushes, so we got that scraped off, and the soil underneath was absolutely beautiful. And 2 years ago I planted potatoes here, and oh my goodness, they were beautiful. So I've planted them in 3 stages so they don't ripen all at once, because there's still a few more to pop up. And I just use the potatoes that sprout in my cupboard even though you're not meant to do it, but I've never had an issue. I've done it for years and years and years. So, and of course here the barn is about as old as, well, it is as old as the house. It used to house the coaches, the horses and coaches, and but now holds our car and our caravan, which will get sold soon. And of course hubby's workshop is in the process of being done up. A mate of his is going to help him in the new year, which is great. So he's taking the doors off. He's going to do a big clean up. And of course here's my greenhouse. This is my experimental greenhouse. It's 6 by 2.5 foot, or 6 by 3, no, 6 by 2.5. Just a cheap version because it's a trial period, because if it all works I would love to get a proper hothouse. So here I'm actually growing my seedlings now, because my potting shed is too small, and I had all these trays, so hubby made me some wires and just so I could hang them up, so it's not too much bending for me. So I've got lots of veggies growing here, and they grow in different seasons here, because even though I watched Sonia from Steptoe and Son, Sonia Steptoe I should say, and her husband's garden is absolutely beautiful, but she lives in parks and totally different atmosphere again. Here I've experimented with heirloom tomatoes, and I put them in bags, and they're only 2 weeks old and they've grown about 1.5 feet, so they really love it in here. And I've already nipped the buds out because they were going to flower, and I didn't want that. I want them to get their roots established first. And lots of cuttings of the grapevines just there, and some more goodies coming out. These are Gorsalisa and some capsicum I'm going to try in here, because I've got more capsicum here that'll go outside, and some more grapevines that I found rooting in the ground. So I thought, oh, I could use you, and some strawberries. Don't have much success with strawberries. Cucumbers, and I've got some ginger in there. So yeah, so this is our orchard. These are wild petunias, believe it or not, and I'll leave them, it gives a bit of colour. Some chives coming out here, and a little lemon tree. Oh God, it's had so many knockbacks, but it's finally happening, because it's actually got little lemons on it now. So let's keep my fingers crossed. So this is the back of the property. So this is just over 1/2 acre. The whole property is over 1/2 acre. We do have a 100-foot bore, so there's plenty of water in the summertime. And this is just the mower shed and knick-knack shed. My husband just over there. He's got a few sheds along here. Here's my mulching bays. Okay, we just made up from what we had lying on the property. Whole fence post, bit of tin, nothing fancy, but it does the job for me. And what you can see, so we've had a fair bit of wind, so I'm just picking this up. All these rocks here from my neighbours last year, when they pulled all the garden up, and I said chuck them over the fence along here, and I got my little trolley, and I placed every rock, any size, they were heavy, to make what I want to make, and which was a pathway, and this is called my wattle walk. So I planted some beautiful wattles, so looked absolutely gorgeous with the yellow flowers. Here I've got geraniums cuttings, and quite a few again, but there's lots of colour. What I did last winter was, instead of taking all the geraniums, making cuttings and putting them in pots, which was about 40-50 pots, I actually cut them all off, put them in 2 big cardboard boxes, closed them, left all the leaves, everything on, flowers and everything, excuse me, and left that all on. And then at the end of the window I took them out, and they all survived. So I cut them all in pieces. They didn't have any leaves left on them, of course, and just planted them, and that's how they're all coming. I think that's the best way to do it now in winter time, so I don't have to worry about planting them in 40 pots. I've got one wagon bay here that's open. It's my experimental one. I actually grew onions and garlics in here, and they were harvested a couple of weeks ago. Awesome. But I'm going to do it again, but in a different position. Here I've got my cucumbers, some sweet potato, and which is still from last year as well, and some spinach, I do believe here. I think it's spinach or cos. I can't remember now. Anyway, my bays. This one is empty. The slugs got into it. I had Pactroy in that. They ate the whole lot. So, but now I'm going to do it with the oranges, and I'll keep away from it. I've got an experimental tomato plant in here just to see how it goes. This is 30% shade cloth. Needs it here in the summer. And I've got some beans in here. Let's see if I can open this up so I can show you. And you'll see my oranges. Okay. So yeah, so they've got flowers on them. And but these are the oranges. I cut them in half. They're the oranges that had fruit fly in them. And I'll keep them. And I just dunk them in some yeast and water. And just half plant them. And it attracts the slugs and slaters. And they don't attack the roots of the plants. So it's a good tip if you, especially raise garden beds. Oh God. This is an experimental bed. This is Brussels sprout. We know how high they get. It is a winter crop, but I planted too late last year and did a bit of research. So this was planted about nearly at the end of winter, but they need the heat. So I'm hoping that they'll survive. I did one last year and it didn't survive. I didn't have the insect mesh, so every caterpillar of all sorts had a party. And we were away for 3 days and all the plants were eaten. So this time I got prepared and I planted them at a different time. So we'll see what happens. You know, that's the fun of it, isn't it? Here I've got another garden bed. I'm going to put some tomatoes. They're Gorsalisa and one heirloom tomato in here. They didn't do too bad last year, but I planted them too late. Here's our grapevine red grapes. Oh, delicious. The birds like them too, so it'll get a net over this time. I don't mind sharing, but they ate the whole jolly lot last year. So you can already see some grapes just in there happening. Okay, beautiful, beautiful flush. And the arms grow, oh God, they grow about nearly like 20 foot either side. Well, this time I'm not going to let them get that long because it'll take away the nutrition from the grapes. So as we go along, so all these rocks here are all the ones that yeah, it was hard yakka. It took me about a week, but you know, it's very rewarding. And then you just walk around here, and that's the road, and that's the outlook from my neighbour. So I've planted some hedges here. They take a while. This here is horrible ground. I've just let it cover with I think they call it Jerusalem star, which I trim back. See, all this needs more of a trim. And I've got a couple of different hedges. This is a super hedge, and this is a hedge from Mount Tamborine in Queensland, and it's finally coming because it doesn't like the heat or cold out here. Wild petunias, don't you just love them? And some more petunias, geraniums. Just love these pretty butterfly bushes. I think that's what they call them. I cut them down to 6 inches in the winter, put mulch over them lightly, and they survived. Woohoo! And this is the beginning of my moringa tree. I harvest the leaves and have them in a salad, very healthy. Here I've realigned my garden, and yeah, so I've deadened the grass. This is going to be my garlic patch, so it's about, how many steps? Let me see. How many steps? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably about 20 foot, 21 foot. And I'll do it about 3 foot wide. And it's going to be a no dig, it's going to be a raised one. So that's where my garlic is going to go. Because even though I planted some the other, like last year, I find it's not enough because I love my garlic. So yeah, so this is the house, and of course at the front I've got my rose garden. These are the different irises that I've planted here. They were only little sticks 4 years ago, so they go really well. And this is the front of the house. I've got the second flush of roses coming out. More geraniums. Hubby's got the bird feeders out, so they're having a blast over here. It's a very old house, needs a lot of work, but you know, we've got plenty of time. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the little tour. And I've been making little packs for my Etsy store, and for people, just little bundles for people to buy for Christmas, to maybe hand out to people, or use as stocking stuffers. So watch out for that video. And also I'm going to have a massive December sale, because December is my birth month, so it'll be 20% off all the stock. So keep an eye out for that one. But until then, you know what you got to do. You can keep crafting, and I'll be gardening. Bye for now.